Welcome to Conversations in the Coop. I'm your host, Trinity Director of Athletics, Drew Galbraith. It's my pleasure to be joined today by a senior captain on Trinity men's golf team, Jack Godin. Jack, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Well, Jack, it's an exciting time of year as the golfers are back from your spring break trip to Florida and getting set very shortly to start the run towards hopefully a NESCAC championship, which is 3 tournaments leading up to then the NESCAC championship, which will be played up in Brunswick, Maine this year. So let's go back a little bit and just talk about this year so far. Great group of men on the team this year, and a really competitive season in the fall. And just for folks who don't really understand, 5 golfers play in college golf, 4 score in each round. So talk about being on a team where it's so competitive just to get on the van to go to competition each weekend.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think this year is by far the most competitive year we've ever had as a team. Our qualifying scores were the lowest they've ever been, which is awesome, and it really makes it a fun environment for everyone to come to the course every day and know that they have to compete. And even if you played in the last tournament, your spot's still not guaranteed because we requalify every single week, which is a great thing that we do outside of other schools that just kind of keep the same lineup, because you know, kids get hot, kids go cold, and you kind of want the best players to be there at the time. And I think it's just been great for our team and great for our culture of keeping that competitive drive that Coach Youngie said at the beginning of the year to get the NESCAC.
And so in college golf, there are a few at-large spots when you get to the NCAA tournament, but obviously winning the NESCAC is kind of the number one thing. So as a leader and a leader of a team that's come close a couple times since you've been at Trinity,
for sure.
How do you help the younger guys on the team understand how important it is not only to keep building and be good every week, but also how important it is to be locked in a couple days and late?
It's big for sure. I think through my experience over the last 4 years, we've always had a good fall, and we've got off to great starts in the spring, but haven't really figured out how to get it done when it needs to be. And I think in terms of this year, I think it's just the same message that we spoke to in the beginning of the year. It's like nothing's guaranteed. Even if you win the week before NESCACs, it's like you still got to go out and play. So I think it's just continuing to stay on top of everything that you need to be doing and stay managing your time well, making sure when you come to the golf course you're locked in and ready to go.
So let's go back to the start of your journey in golf, because most people don't grow up just playing golf. There are very few, even in the age of post-Tiger, there are very few people who only ever play golf. So you grew up in Wilbraham, Mass, not too far from here, just a little bit up 91. So talk about your introduction to the game and when that happened.
Yeah, so I was probably around like 8 or 10 years old when I started playing. I think it mostly just started for fun, to be honest. I would just go out with my dad and just at a random afternoon, he'd put a tee in the ground at the 100-yard marker, and I'd work my way back to the tees. And I just fell in love with it kind of from there, just being purely for fun, like not really any pressure of going out shooting a score, and it was something I could do with my dad that he enjoyed. And then once I kind of stopped playing hockey in 8th grade, I had a couple concussions that kind of took me away from that, and tried baseball a little bit, but no offense to the baseball guys here, but it wasn't really for me. And then in high school I just was like, I'm just going to give golf a go, because it's something I loved and enjoyed and had fun with, and really fell in love with the process of just getting better and trying to work as hard as possible and be the best possible player I can be. And that's just what I try and convey to the younger guys too on the team, of just setting the bar super high for success and trying to reach it. So
giving up hockey in 8th grade and kid growing up in New England, loving hockey, how was that transition to golf? Were there things that you had to change mindset-wise when you switched from hockey to golf?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the first couple tournaments I played, I took the same mindset that I took into hockey of just, you got to get fired up and jacked up to play and everything. And so it didn't really work out for me that well. I got off to really bad starts and kind of threw me off my game a little bit. So I kind of had to take a step back and just let my heart rate come down, take a few deep breaths, get just kind of this zen mode of just kind of even keel, don't get too high, don't get too low, just kind of keep it right there in neutral. And it's worked out, because I think golf is such an emotional game, and I think it's good to ride those emotions sometimes, but you have to, when it comes down to the next hole, you got to kind of put those emotions aside and get back to hitting the next shot.
So you're going through high school, and at what point in high school? I know you said you kind of no baseball, hockey was done for medical reasons. So now you're going for it in golf. When did you realize like, oh, I actually can do this at a pretty good level?
I think it was honestly around sophomore year. My freshman year I had a good one and I played some tournaments, but sophomore year I really started to figure out, I think, how to play golf and not make so many mistakes that I was making. I learned a lot and matured a lot, and I had some guys on my high school team that were older and they were seniors and they were going through the college process of recruiting. So I kind of leaned on them a lot in terms of just asking them questions about what do you do in this situation, how to handle yourself on the golf course, and from there I just my development exploded from there, and I think I'm still developing to this day, which is a great thing and something I'm excited about, but definitely around sophomore year for sure. And then from there it's just continuing to play.
So how would you describe it to someone? Because there are a lot of differences between going out and just playing golf and tournament golf.
Mm-hmm.
And then especially when you hear college golfers talk about this a lot, you hear even early in pro career, just like playing in tournaments and the pressure that goes along with that, as well as just the kind of decorum of you're not out there necessarily with family or friends,
Mm-hmm.
you're out there with direct competitors walking around the course together with your bag on your back. Just differentiate that.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a big difference for sure, and you hear that a lot. That was another challenge I had to face when switching from hockey too, is taking out the relaxation almost of just playing with your buddies and playing with your family, and it's fun, you're not really thinking too much, and honestly when you get into a tournament mode it's definitely more serious obviously, and you're playing not only for yourself but for 4 other guys on the team as well, and trying to shoot the best score possible for them. But I think there's also some good things that come from it. Like when I started playing, I played a lot of golf with my friends obviously and my dad, and then coming into tournaments I try and almost take that same mindset of this is just another round of golf with my dad, and just getting into that mindset of just relaxation and just calm and chill, and it helps me because it brings my heart rate down. I'm much more relaxed, I'm much more talkative, and I'm not just super tense and everything, so it helps.
So where's that line between, so some of it is completely psychological, just in terms of mindset, but there's physiology to it as well. You're trying to keep your, much like you might find with like a biathlete whose heart's racing, they're skiing, and then they get to the shooting portion, they have to actually get their heart rate down. Similar thing in golf, like you've got to manage that heart rate. So are there things you do with how you're fueling your body, whether it's through food, drink, otherwise, to keep that even keel as opposed to those spikes?
Yeah, I think Coach Young does a great job of that. I think from the get-go, when we get to a tournament, he will always have, snacks for us on the different holes, make sure we're hydrated a lot, like really good foods like granola bars, nuts, all like the brain food that we need. And then in terms of just like keeping that even keel with the heart rate, we do a lot of breathing stuff. I think myself personally, Coach Youngie preaches it a lot of just keeping your breathing consistent, because when that gets erratic, then that heart rate gets up and spiked, and then crazy things can happen.
And what are some courses you play where it's hard, just because you're walking, you're carrying your bag?
Yeah.
What are some courses where it's really hard to regulate your breathing just because it's up and down hills and around corners?
I think when we get up into the Maine area, that's where we're going back for Nescacs. The Vermont area, Middlebury's course is extremely hilly and it's extremely tough to walk. Same with Bowden's course, it's pretty tough to walk. So we see it all the time though. We're pretty used to it, considering that we've played a lot of tournament golf and a lot of courses where we're carrying our bags, so we're pretty used to it. But sometimes you'll definitely get after and you're like, I'm a little winded, a little tired. But I think that's the nice thing about it, is that, we work out a lot too during the season and off season, so we get a pretty good baseline of where we need to be.
Do you do anything? And so most of the team has been playing, whether going to simulators, trying to get out places that are now just opening up here in Connecticut. You were just down in Florida for a week. Is there any sort of kind of training, kind of retraining your body to be used to walking? I know as administrators that we that first weekend in the fall where we're standing for 8 or 9 hours is hard on the back. Is there something similar? Is that first tournament in the spring or fall rough?
Not necessarily, I think.
You're young.
Yeah, I think we have that going for us too, but I think, no, honestly, no, not really. We've been used to it for a while, like myself included. When I play at home, sometimes I'll take a cart, but I like to walk if possible. My dad likes to get out there and walk too, and everything, so it's not too bad, but it's definitely like, oh, I am walking right now. It's not just riding a cart all day for 4.5 hours,
So talk about your recruiting process to Trinity. You mentioned you had some older classmates at Wilbraham-Musson who did go through a recruiting process. So what did your process look like? When did Trinity come in the picture?
Yeah, Trinity came into the picture pretty late, honestly, right around September, October, my senior fall. And prior to this, I was talking with some other schools. And originally I was going to go to another school because it was the same kind of school as Trinity, same small school setup that I liked that I had in my high school. And the golf coach was really appreciative of me and said I could come on and play right away. And then Trinity came in the picture. Coach Young reached out to me in September, and I wasn't committed anywhere yet because my dad was like, just wait and see what happens. I'm glad I did, because as soon as I came on campus, I knew this was a place for me. As you know, you hear the saying, you know. And I definitely knew, and talking to Coach Young and Coach Creason at the time, could really sense the community that was here and the family of the golf team itself, that I felt like talking to them, I knew them for 5 years prior. So it was a great decision, and I'm glad I made it.
So when you come to Trinity, you not only get a chance your first couple of years to be coached by Coach Greason and Coach Youngie, and now Coach Youngie took over last summer, but you're getting coached by two guys who've done it as golfers at Trinity. Coach Youngie was on a team that finished 10th in the country his senior year, and he finished in the top 40. So what value does that add? What do guys talk about when you're being recruited by Coach Youngie, for example?
It's important. It's huge, I think, in the recruiting process, and I think that's why we get some really good kids to come play here, because Coach Youngie's done it. You know, he has won the NESCAC multiple times, and Coach Greason as well has a lot of NESCACs under his belt, and both of them were along for that ride in Kentucky when they finished 10th, and it's just, that's kind of the standard. You know, we talk about it a lot, is 2019 is the standard that is set, so it's ultimately it's up to us to either reach it or exceed it, which is a really exciting and cool feeling to have as a team, because not everyone has that.
Is there a connection? So most Trinity coaches are much older than Coach Youngie, but as someone who is only, this will be his 5th year out of school this year. So is there a different type of connection between the student athletes and Coach Youngie?
I think maybe a little bit, but I think it's honestly a good thing in that way, because he is about 5 years older than us, like you said, so we can relate to him a lot, and we can ask him really good questions about the process of being actually a student athlete when trying to win. And I think those are really important questions. That definitely helps the young guys too, because you come into college and you have to balance all these different things and go to practice, and it could be a lot for kids. So having him there and having him do it and having him be kind of a coach but also a friend too is really, really important.
So one of the great traditions at Trinity is the spring break trip to Florida.
Oh, yeah.
So just talk about what that is and the fun and privilege of getting to go on some of those trips.
So for us, spring break is one of the best trips I think we all get to go on. We're very, very fortunate with a lot of the alums that host us. We get to play some of the greatest golf courses in Florida. So Tom Tammany here, he has been fantastic to us. He hosts us down in Florida as well as Aquanic at the end of the year. Doug Tansel as well, Paul Rather, and it's just a great thing for kids to see, and myself included, the community that's around us and the strong alumni network of people giving back to our program and programs and just Trinity athletics in general. And it's just really, really fun, being with everyone at the same time, because during the season it gets hectic and people have different schedules, so it's very hard for us to get together as one unit. But that whole week we're together, we stay in one Airbnb and stay up late talk about everything and anything, and it's just really, really fun.
So is there one course that you pick out from your years of now going on those trips that just stands out, or one particular day that stands out on those
Yeah,
trips?
I think the Red Stick Day is by far my favorite. Tom Tammany hosts us there. It's just a really, really cool experience to be there. The course is fantastic, and sit in, have lunch, go right to the range. Your bags are all there ready for you. You take caddies, and then the course is just pristine, and it's always in really, really good shape.
So as we turn the page towards this spring now, I mentioned before, you get kind of 3 weeks of run-up and then the NESCAC Championship. And so how do you as a captain kind of help guys get ready for that sense of urgency that we've got to be ready to play, but each week will kind of ramp up the intensity?
Yeah, I think, well, now I'm not alone anymore. I was lucky to have Coop as well join me, and I think we talked about this a lot, like over spring break and leading up to this year. It's like keeping the standards set, and it comes from us of being kind of those guys that are, first in, last out, and setting the example of, even though we're seniors and we've done it, and that we're not done working hard, just we're not coasting, I think is important to set for everyone else on the team as well moving forward.
So golf is obviously a lifetime sport, and
Yeah.
so it's something. So are there things that you already get to do in golf that you're excited to continue to do after graduation, or is there something you're excited to? I mean, are you just like can't wait to join somewhere so you can win a club championship sort of thing?
Yeah, I think it's both of those things. I think I'm excited to continue some of the competitive aspect of it and continue to play in the AM stuff. I can play in those as long as I want, and as long as I keep my handicap down. But I'm excited to do those, and then just excited to play buddies golf again, too, and just play on Saturday and Sundays and try and win the club championship and get that competitive drive that I love about this sport that's just so different than everything else.
So Coach Youngie, some of his teammates from that 2019 team you mentioned have qualified for US 4 balls, have qualified for some state AMs, things like that. As you see playing at that competitive level potentially in your future?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Me and some of the kids on the team, we were talking about doing a 4 ball together, and during the summers, kids on our team will play in the AM stuff too. So it's nothing new that we haven't done. So it's going to be different than continuing to play and practice every single day, but I'm excited for it.
Now, what are those special days for you as a family on the course?
Yeah, it's everything. I think Father's Day is a big one. It's always crowded, but we used to do this thing back in Wilbraham at our home course when we would go out at like 5 o'clock, and it'd just be like all of us would get together, we'd grab a cart and just go out and play 9 holes in the afternoon. And those are always great. Mother's Day is a big one. My mom just got back into golf, which is great. And then with me and my dad, I think now that he's gone back into it because of me, we started to do a lot more trips, which is awesome. Those are always super fun. For my graduation, we're going up to Canada to play Cabot Cliffs, which I'm really, really excited about, and we've done some cool ones. So it's just, I think, being able to be with my mom and my dad and my sister playing golf is just really, really special.
And what about after graduation? Do you see yourself staying in the Northeast, going somewhere else?
Yeah, I think so. Right now, I'm still in the process of interviewing, so I haven't figured anything out yet. But hopefully, in the next couple of weeks, we'll hear some things. But definitely within the Northeast and Boston for sure, I think. So I'm excited for the process.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you and your teammates get back out into competition in just a few weeks.
Thank you.
Thanks to Jack, and good luck to the Trinity men's golf team all spring long. That'll do it for this conversation in the Coop. For the latest news, scores, and schedules, go to bantamsports.com. Follow us on social at Bantam Sports.